What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how I became financially independent by 19. So if you're a young person watching this video, kudos to you. This video is perfect for you, especially if you're in high school. If you're in your early or mid-20s and you're watching this video, this is still going to be beneficial to you too. I'm going to share a lot of insights with you guys, and like I said, especially if you're in high school, you're going to be able to take a lot away from this and develop it into yourself, and you're going to be able to set yourself way ahead of the curve in a couple years. So let me start off by telling you that I'm the youngest of 3 children. I have an older brother who is 5 years older than me, and an older sister who's 9 years older than me. So when I was like 8 years old, my sister bought her first car. I saw that she was working. I saw eventually that my brother was working too, and they were making their own money. That kind of set off the light bulb for me. I was like, okay, they're able to have so much independence from working these jobs. Like they can, you know, my sister bought a car, so now she can kind of come and go as she pleases. They can buy things if they want to. They don't have to rely on mom and dad. So this was very admirable to me. I looked up to this. They kind of served as role models for me. And this is really what started shaping my healthy attitude and relationship towards money. And now in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, I want to get my own money too. So me seeing that from them at a very young age, I actually started looking for some kind of work, some type of way that I could make money as like a 9-year-old. I wasn't too successful, but actually a year later, I was successful and I got a job delivering newspapers. Now that job, I was getting paid about $25 a week. I would deliver the paper like twice a week. So I'd be working on average like 3 hours a week, making like $25. So I wasn't getting paid even like 10 bucks an hour. And at the time, minimum wage was like well above $10 an hour. So I wasn't even making anywhere close to minimum wage. So I was a little bit envious that my brother and sister could be making more per hour. But I think this was still really good for me because it taught me the value of a dollar. So when I would want to buy things and I would ask my parents to buy them, I actually started veering away from that, and I didn't want to ask my parents for things. I started to develop this attitude of like independence. I wanted to be able to do things on my own. So if I wanted like, you know, some snack at the store, or I wanted, you know, a pair of shoes or something like that, a pair of pants, I didn't want to ask my parents for it. I wanted to be able to afford it on my own. But I was making $25 an hour and I was working pretty hard for that money. I wasn't even making $10 an hour. So when I saw things and I saw the price of them, if I wanted them, but then I saw the price of them, I wouldn't really want them anymore because I would kind of think like, that's not worth 3 hours of my time. Like that thing that's $25, that's not worth all the work that I do in a week. So I don't even really want that. So this really taught me the value of a dollar, and it taught me the value, or not the value, it gave me the habit of saving my money. Now I would still buy things when I really wanted them, but that actually kind of worked out in my benefit because it built really, really good saving habits for me. And also the fact that I got a job really young really worked out in my favor in terms of being able to save money. So if you're a young person watching this, if you're like 13, you can get a job. I know in a lot of places, like in Canada, I think you have to be like 16 legally to make minimum wage, or like most places won't even hire you unless you're 16. But there's a lot of things that you could do for money when you're not even 16 yet. So I started delivering newspapers when I was like 10. I was tutoring a neighbor when I was like 12. And then I started working at a banquet hall. It's kind of like an Italian-owned banquet hall. So they didn't really care that I wasn't 16. My older brother was working there, so he kind of like ushered me in. I started working at that banquet hall when I was like 14. So that was my first job that I was working like and making pretty good money because I was working like a considerable amount of hours. Like I said, delivering the paper, I did that for like 3 hours a week. And tutoring, I would do that maybe for like 2 hours in a week. Mind you, I was making a lot better money tutoring than I was delivering papers. But still, working like 2 hours a week, 3 hours a week, it's not gonna really amount a big sum of money. So when I was 14, I started working at the banquet hall. You know, maybe a shift was like 6 hours, and I would do like 2 shifts a week. So that's 12 hours a week now at minimum wage even. That's still a considerable amount of money that I was able to start saving up. So where most kids really wouldn't want to be working at that age, I was eager because I saw this as an opportunity. Any job that I had done in the past, I wasn't really making a lot of money because I wasn't able to work like longer hours. So I saw, oh, okay, I could go work 6 hours at a time and walk away with like, $80, $90 or whatever. Like, that's awesome. I can make that in one night. So I got excited about that. I started to work and I was excited about working. It really helped too that it was a pretty fun work environment. I'll be honest, it wasn't the healthiest or even the safest. There's a lot of like toxicity in the management and stuff like that. But I was working with my brother, and then, he had a couple friends that he made there, a couple young guys. So I kind of became friends with them by association. Like, I'm their friend's little brother, they'd pick on me a little bit. And I wasn't shy, so I'd like give it right back to them. So it was a pretty fun work environment. We were serving weddings too. So halfway through the night, the music comes on, and then you're kind of having a good time. It's cool. It's good exposure. So that's also a really good thing that comes with getting a job at a young age. It's good exposure to the world, right? Like, you develop your social skills alongside saving money. Like, it's a win-win. Now, you might think, yeah, it's a win-win, sure, but you're trading your time for money at a young age. Like, don't you have to go to school? Don't you have like things to do? I did. And this is the thing. I wasn't working night and day. I was working like 2 shifts a week, Friday night, Saturday night. I was still able to get good grades, and I was actually still able to have a really good social life. I would party a lot in high school, and I had that job all throughout high school. So yeah, like I said, I would go to parties a lot. Like, I wouldn't miss out on a lot of the stuff that was going on with my friends. I kind of had like seniority by association because I would be working with my brother, and we would go in the next morning to set up. So we would be allowed to leave pretty early. Like, after we served the dessert, most of the waiters would have to work till like, 2 in the morning. We were able to leave at like 10 o'clock. So I was still able to go to parties after. I just kind of I had it set up in a pretty good way. Because I was going back in the next morning at a pretty early hour, we were allowed to leave early the night before. Because it was only like me and my brother and like 2 other guys that were like the setup crew that would go flip the hall for the next wedding or the next event the next day. So with that said, that's a very specific situation that I had, but you can kind of find a way to set it up so that you can still work even like on a Friday night or a Saturday night where you're not working too late. So you can still kind of like go to a party after, you're in high school, you want to enjoy your high school experience, go to parties and stuff like that. And yeah, so I was working quite a bit, but I was still having a social life. I was still maintaining good grades. I was playing competitive hockey. I was taking piano lessons. Like, a lot of people had this mentality of, oh, I can't have a job, I'm too busy, like I gotta study. It's like, okay, granted, I was pretty academically gifted, but there's so much time. Like, you don't just have to study all the time. You can still have a job while you're in high school and still have a healthy work-life balance. It's not just gonna be all work and school. You're gonna still get to, like, see your friends. You're gonna be able to have time for things if you just balance it. That's the key word here, is balance. So make sure you are not overworking yourself, because then that's just gonna take away from your quality of life. You still wanna enjoy your life, but make sure you're not just not taking advantage of the fact, and here's a big insight, make sure you don't miss the opportunity to make money while you have no expenses. Now, I recognize that, there's a small percentage of people that might be working to even help support their parents as a young teenager. And if that's the case, I guess this can't really apply to you, unfortunately. But for most of you listening to this, that's probably not the case. You're probably not helping your parents pay the mortgage. So you probably don't really have expenses while you're a young teenager. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of the fact that you don't really have bills to pay, because you can save your money. Now, something that you have to do to take advantage of that and actually save your money is not to spend like an idiot. Something that is really popular in today's culture is this like flex culture. You have to see through that. You have to be able to recognize like develop some sort of big picture understanding that shows you, I don't really care about a $500 belt, because what else can that $500 provide for me? In the future, that $500, like if you're striving towards financial independence, that $500 is worth so much more than a belt. So you kind of have to see through the whole trap of like designer clothes and just really expensive things that are expensive for the sake of being expensive. Live within your means, be able to, and well, when you're a young teenager, living with your means can mean you're spending all your money because you don't really have bills. But like I said, take advantage of the fact that you don't have bills. Use that time to save up your money so that when you do decide, okay, I'm going to become fully financially independent, well, why do you even want to do that in the first place? There's so many good things that come with that. I'll share a couple. Self-confidence, the fact that you open up so much more freedom in your life. You can kind of do whatever the hell you want in terms of coming and going as you please in your own home, not really having anyone to answer to. And you might very well live in a situation like your parents might not be so bad to live with. I know my parents weren't bad to live with, but I just wanted that extra degree of freedom that comes with living on your own. Like I said, not really having anyone to answer to. If you want to leave your house a mess, you can leave your house a mess and nobody's going to give you shit for it. But above all, that first thing that I said about that self-confidence and what is being reinforced in your own capabilities is huge. That is such a big benefit that comes with being fully financially independent. Like being able to know I can do this. Like I'm capable. That reinforces that you are a capable person when you're actually going out and being financially independent in the world. So that's a big benefit from that. But like I said, got a little off topic. That $500 that you would have spent on a belt is going to be worth so much more to you when you are fully financially independent. So save up while you can, while you don't have any expenses. So that way, when you do decide, okay, I'm gonna move out, it's not as cutthroat as it might otherwise be. Because if you move out with not a lot of money, sure, you can just work a job, but it might be like, if your expenses are $2,000 a month, then you have to make $2,000 every month if you don't really have any money saved, or you're screwed. But if you saved up $20,000 during high school, which is very, very doable. I actually saved up a little bit more than that in my high school years. Then it's not going to be as cutthroat. You're not going to be thinking, oh, I have to make that expense like every month. And if something comes up that sets you back a little bit, it's okay because you have a little bit of like a nest egg to fall back on. Your nest egg being your savings. I forget where I heard that term, nest egg. That's funny. Anyways, so yeah, really take advantage of that. And then once you decide you're going to move out, try to keep your expenses beneath your income. That kind of goes without saying, but it's very doable. When I moved out, I was working in Woodbridge at the time, which is the town I was living in at my parents' house. But I realized, okay, I'm not going to be able to work in Woodbridge anymore. I'm going to have to work downtown. So how am I going to make money? Because that's where I was moving. I was going to move downtown, which is where I am now. So like, how am I going to be able to make money? Here's another big insight. Develop skills that you enjoy. And those are going to be a way that you can always rely on money coming in. This is another dimension of reinforcing that you're capable. When I moved out, and I'm telling you, this is like, this is my story, right? I'm telling you exactly how I did it. I had a lot of money saved, but I was thinking, okay, if I move out, I don't really have a job down there right now, and I don't really want to work, like a minimum wage job. I was making pretty good money coaching tennis lessons at the time in Woodbridge at a tennis club, and I was like, almost double minimum wage. So I didn't want to just move downtown and get any old job for minimum wage because I was going to be having to work so much more than I was working at the time. But I thought to myself, okay, I have skills. I have a lot of skills. I teach tennis because I am capable of being a tennis teacher. So I can go ahead and teach tennis on my own. Like, I don't need to rely on the club for that. When I move downtown, I can put an ad online and teach and coach some tennis. So I did that. I thought, okay, I'm really good at the piano. I took piano lessons for like 8 years. I'm actually qualified to teach piano because of how far I went in my piano lessons. And even aside from the fact that I have a qualification for it, you don't even really need a qualification for it. If you're just doing it on your own and you're capable, then a lot of people aren't really gonna care that you're qualified. Yeah, some might, and they're not gonna be your clients, but that's okay. So develop some skills, find some ways to make money, like be creative with it, right? I played the piano, I'm good at tennis, I play hockey. So I actually did coach, or I taught tennis and hockey while I was in high school. Those were both some jobs that I did. So I thought, okay, I can do that privately and I can teach piano lessons. No big deal. I can, I don't have to rely on a minimum wage job. So that's further reinforcement to the fact that I am a capable person. I am capable of generating income on my own without an employer having to cut me a check. I can get it directly from a person paying me for a service. So that's my other advice to you, is develop a skill so you have the resources, and really the only resource you need to be able to do that is the skill itself. So then you have the resources to be able to provide yourself with some money. And to boot, it's going to be a lot more than whatever you can make at a minimum wage job. You can charge double or triple what you'd be getting paid at a minimum wage job by being self-employed in that sense. And those jobs that I do are kind of just like, that's just for me to get by in the meantime while I develop my career. And this is me developing my career. This is my career, it's life coaching, and I've been able to get myself clients. And this is because I have reinforced this belief of being capable, and I know I can do it now. The first thing that taught me that in terms of finances was being able to buy my own car. So I don't know if I shared this already, but when I was in high school and I was working, I had a goal in mind. I saw that my brother and my sister bought a car and they got a lot of freedom with that, and I wanted the same thing. So I created this goal and I worked towards it. I'm gonna buy a car. I bought a car. I had that freedom. That reinforced, okay, I am capable. I can do what I set out to do. It's kind of, you see where it's all kind of like that, they're different pieces to that same puzzle of reinforcing that independence. So it starts off by, when you're really young, start working a job, understand the value of a dollar. Don't spend like an idiot and save your money. You should be saving your money when you're young. Take advantage of the fact that you don't have expenses, build up some savings. I also started investing at a pretty young age. I got to investing, I became financially literate. I understood, some terminology and what I can do with my money and kind of how money works. So you can autodidact a little bit. You can self-educate in that area. You have YouTube, you have the internet. That's what you're doing here right now. You're educating yourself by learning from someone. You can do that for practically anything. So learn about investing while you don't have any expenses and you're saving your money. You can invest a little bit of money. Set out a goal for yourself. Understand, like, okay, I want to have this much money. Even if it's not because you want to buy a car, just set out a goal that you want to have like $20,000 saved by the end of high school. And then you can hold yourself accountable. You have a reason to not spend like an idiot because you want to hit your goal. And if you're spending like an idiot, you're not going to be able to hit your goal. So you're going to be reinforcing that you are a capable person. And that's how I did it. I knew when I moved out, okay, I gotta find a way to meet my monthly expenses. I'm a university student, so I can't work full-time. That's out of the equation. I don't want to work full-time anyways, doing something that I don't like, because then that almost like gets you into the habit of settling for less. So I didn't want to work a full-time job or in a career that I didn't want. And actually, that's why I decided to take a step back from school, because I didn't see myself working professionally in the field of kinesiology, which is what I was in. I saw that, okay, this is a career that I do want for myself. I want to help people navigate their lives on a personal level. I want to be a life coach. I know I have a lot to share in that field, so that's what I'm going to dive into. And the reason that I was able to do that and step into that with courage is because I've reinforced all this independence throughout my entire life. So I wasn't worried like, oh, but what if I'm not going to be able to do it? It's like, no, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. And that's the same thing with moving out. Really, becoming financially independent isn't that difficult. It doesn't take much in terms of being able to actually afford your expenses every month. You just need to have really good habits, and that's what I'm sharing with you. That's what I've shared with you in this video, is you need to be able to develop these good habits in yourself, and that starts with a good work ethic from a young age and awareness over the money itself, how you're spending it, what you're doing with it. So anyhow, I think that about concludes it. That's how I became financially independent by the time I was 19. When I moved out, I was still in school. I'm not in school anymore. I've committed to the idea of life coaching as a career. So now I'm developing my career in that, and I've already got some paid clients. So like I said, guys, the proof is in the pudding. I'm not just talking the talk here. I'm walking the walk too. I know from experience, you can do it. You just need to reinforce the fact that you are capable, and you are, I promise you. It's going to be a little bit harder if you've developed all these poor habits around money, which is why I said if you're in high school specifically, great, you're still pretty young, so you're going to be able to build good habits without having to like deconstruct the bad ones. But if you already have the not so good habits around money, that's okay too. You can still implement these. Like I said, deconstruct the bad habits, implement the good ones. If you want a little bit more guidance in deconstructing the bad habits, you can go watch my video, Understanding and Heal, or what's it called? I think I called it Healing Your Relationship with Money. And you can also go ahead and purchase the book, It's Not About the Money, which is going to help you heal all your bad habits in a very fundamental way. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Leave me a comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.